Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. Before I even start this video, I apologize if the audio is not up to par. I left my microphone at school, of course. Of everything for me to leave at school, it had to be my audio stuff. So I apologize if the audio is not as good as it usually is, and it'll be this way, of course, for a whole month. So, yikes, that really sucks. But without any further ado, guys, today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 improvements that they can make to Luigi's Mansion 3. Because the fact that I like Luigi's Mansion 3, let me pull up the game, I like Luigi's Mansion 3 quite a bit, like, I like it, but there's so much that I think is not so great about it, to where it really holds it back. And I know a lot of people hate when I talk negatively about Luigi's Mansion 3, but here's the thing, we can't talk about everything as if it's perfect. I always say Luigi's Mansion's flaws, you know, when I'm saying that I mean the first game. But there just are not as many, to me, as there are in this game. So these would be 5 free updates that they would give to Luigi's Mansion 3, because of the fact that they've already kind of started doing that. They have given updates to Luigi's Mansion 3, like, you know, a 20-floor skyscraper and the music gallery and all that. So they've done stuff before. So I think that now would be cool to really make a video talking about what they could do even more so to improve it. So now let's get started.
ZakPak, he's always there for you. ZakPak, only on YouTube. ZakPak, what will he do next? ZakPak, let's find out, 'cause it's on with the show.
I think one of the first, most important things they can do is have boss replayability. Being able to replay any boss at any time is just logical. They literally did this for the Luigi's Mansion 3DS game, and I thought that that game was basically going to have everything kind of Luigi's Mansion 3 was going to add. You know, like they have Luigi in there, and like, you know, the fact that you can play co-op. These are things that Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS added, that Luigi's Mansion 3 also added. So the boss rush kind of also seemed like a no-brainer, especially since this game would obviously be longer. So boss rush mode would be more practical for people who didn't want to play through the whole game again just to get to their favorite boss. And lo and behold, my favorite boss is all the way basically to the end of the game almost, in Twisted Sweet, floor 11, and I'm not playing through the whole entire game just for that boss fight. I find the game not that much fun to replay. I don't have fun replaying it. So limiting boss battles to just that is kind of sucky. So I think having a boss rush mode would add so much replayability for people. You know, being able to go back and replay, and not only replayability, but bringing back a ranking system. Like, you know how Luigi's Mansion 1 had the gold frames, the silver frames, the bronze flip frames, 3DS added platinum frames. Do something like that here. Have the containment unit be like, you know, gold, silver, you know, bronze, or whatever for when you catch the ghost, and you can get different colored containment units for that ghost. I don't know, it just seems like it makes sense because Luigi's Mansion's done it before, and it's just a cool way to get people to come back and replay your game and play the bosses again to get those top quality frames. Or I guess containment units in this case. I don't know, like, it just makes sense. Okay, so the next one is kind of a no-brainer. It's kind of like, how is this not a thing already? The common ghosts. Oh my god, like, I know they've added some new rare ghosts in the free update. I believe it was the rare ghosts they added in the free update. But I'm talking about actual common ghosts in the actual story mode. Having just the goobs, the hammers, the slinkers, and the oozers, basically, just having those 4. Yes, you have the trappers and the minis, but I don't really count those much. So you really just have those 4 that you're fighting. It really makes combat stale when you're fighting the same ghost over and over, especially when you see a higher proportion of goobs rather than anything else. So I really think they need a little more freshness with the common ghost variety. Heck, take something like qualities from the rare ghosts that you have and put those into newly designed common ghosts. I'm not talking about even more reskins of the goobs. Like, we already have a million of those at this point. Just give us something new, something fresh, something uniquely designed. Like, God, like, you know, the goobs look so generic, the hammers look stupid. It's almost as if they really did not try with the Common Ghost, because they thought that when people said that there was way too much Common Ghost combat in Dark Moon, they thought that meant take away all the Common Ghosts. No, you gotta strike a balance with the Common Ghost and the Portrait Ghost. Like, it's common sense. Like, you can't have all Common Ghosts, and you can't have all Portrait Ghosts. You need to find the balance. And the first game balanced it so well. So I know that's a whole completely different conversation. But it doesn't help if you have all of these same Common Ghosts throughout the entire game. The same 4 types. The first game had like 10. The second game had like 8. Why does this game only have 4? It makes no sense. So thirdly, I think this one's the most likely to happen, and that's more Scare Scraper options. Now, I'm not just talking about getting an endless mode, which I think would be pretty cool if we can get an endless mode, but I also mean options like adjusting the timer, adjusting the difficulty, maybe even adjusting what kinds of DLC floors you get rather than having to wear the costume associated to that floor. If you don't want to play Tomb Sweets' floor, but you want to wear the Mummy Luigi costume, don't set Tomb Sweets as a floor you go to. Bada bing, bada boom. To me, it's stupid that it's limited to the costume that you wear. Right? So if everyone wants to be Mummy Luigi, because not many people really like the Night Luigi, and only like half the people I've seen like the Dancing Hall Luigi, Grivigi, whatever. So why force people to wear costumes if they want the different floor? Just have the option be there to set what kind of floors you want to go to. More often than not, people are going to say every single one. Like, people are going to say, oh, I want to go to the dance hall, especially when the second pack comes out. Like, obviously, if there's 4 people to a Scare Scraper and you have 6 DLC costumes, the math doesn't add up. You can't possibly get every single floor type. So having the option to choose what floors you want, or what floor types you want to go to, and that can even be extended to the modes. Like, if you want just all ghost capturing, if you want a mixture, if you want the coins, which I don't see really who would, like, just having more of those options for Scare Scraper would make Scare Scraper so much more ideal. It's really limited. Scare Scraper is so limited with its potential and what you can do with it. And it's really unfortunate, because Scare Scraper is a lot of fun. I like playing Scare Scraper, especially with you guys. I've been playing a bit with you guys, and it's fun. I like it. It is so much fun. But it feels so limited, especially when, you know, when you're playing the DLC mode, and more often than not, you still get the basic mansion theme when you want to see some of the new themes. Like, you know, there's so much more they can do. Alright, so my 4th point everyone's gonna hate me for, because I'm bringing in the L word. Lighting. I'm sorry, the lighting in this game is just not good. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it, the lighting isn't good. I was gonna say, and here's why, but you guys already know why, because I've said it multiple times. There are parts in this game that look brilliant. You know, there are sections, particularly in the beginning of the game, I noticed, where it just looks great. The lighting in the hallways is great. It's dark, it's spooky, and the corridors are really, really small and claustrophobic, and the camera's really close to Luigi. You can really see it just looks great with the lighting and the mood and everything, and it looks great. But that's in the beginning of the game. That's from what I noticed. And the main scene I like to point to as being too bright is the boss fight with Chef Souffle. I think that whole entire sequence is way too bright. You know, all the lights that are on in the kitchen, and, you know, it's just not dark. And if you really think, oh, Zach, you know, you're just nitpicking about the lights, okay, how about this? On the 8th floor, Morty has a frickin' spotlight on him. He literally has a spotlight shining down on him, and if you're a performer, if you've ever been on stage for a band concert, for chorus, or for performing, like theater, you know spotlights are bright. So, like, for ghosts to be afraid of darkness, yet ghosts have spotlights on them and are in fully lit up rooms, to me, being a Luigi's Mansion 1 fan, it just takes me out of it. And, you know, people always tell me, oh, but Zach, the brightness slider doesn't do jack. Well, it does for the rooms that are already kind of dark. It makes them darker, because the rooms are kind of dark, so it makes those ones darker. Great. But for the rooms that aren't naturally darker, it slightly darkens them, but they're still bright. It doesn't change that, and that's because of the inconsistency of the lighting. Some rooms are really, really dark, some rooms are really, really bright, and since the brightness slider takes away the same amount of brightness from every single aspect of the game, the darker rooms look darker, and they're great, but the brighter rooms don't look much darker. They still look bright. If the lighting was consistent, and the game was just, let's say, mediumly dark, kind of spooky dark almost, and you turn the brightness down, it could be even darker throughout the whole entire game. If you want it brighter, turn up the brightness. Or at least have an option where, because like so many of the rooms, for some reason, have lights on. Like the kitchen, for example, there are lights on in the kitchen. In the hallways, there are lights on. In Luigi's Mansion 1, the rooms that had lights on, when there were ghosts in them, they weren't even lights, they were candles. They were little candles that left a little bit of light on the wall. It didn't brighten up the whole room with an electric light, it didn't do any of that. So that kind of stuff just makes me mad. Have an option to where all the lights are turned off in the game. You know that blackout segment, you know, in the Scarescaper? That might be a little too dark, but that still is way better than, like, if I could take a whole blackout version of the Luigi Mansion 3 mansion with all that fog and the darkness, I would take that over what we have now. Just simply because of how much more atmospheric it looks. It looks more like it's in the mood. It looks more like a haunted hotel, which is, you know, the point of the game, to be set in a haunted hotel run by ghosts. Alright, I'm done with that one. So the last one kind of having two parts here. One part I can totally see them doing in a free update. The other part of this I think they could add on as DLC, which I would accept at this point. I would accept this as DLC. So the part I think they would add for free, or I would hope they'd add for free, is a hard mode. I find no reason to go back and replay this game. I'll be honest, I think it's boring. I think the game is too long for what it is, for how many padding missions it has, like the Polterkitty missions, and the going to get that device thing Toad has. The backtracking missions aren't bad, you know, on their own, whatever, but just how padded out they are, particularly, like, you know, the device with Toad thing, like, that mission was fine, but the Polterkitty mission, how padded out and long those were, like, that was just kind of unnecessary. So having a hard mode, that makes the game harder. If it could add elements that I've actually already written down on this list, like having new common ghosts in the hard mode, having darker lighting in the hard mode, that kind of stuff could get people to come back. People like me, because I want to see the new stuff. I want to see everything new in Luigi's Mansion, because since I kind of rip on this game quite a bit, I want to be able to see it from every angle. I want to see this game from every single angle, you know, because I can't rip on a game that I haven't completely 100% played. You know, like, I need to play it. I need to play everything the game has. So giving that kind of stuff would bring people like me back, and I'm sure it'd bring a lot of other people back, because I know a lot of people who play this game like to get all the rare ghosts, particularly. And even the new ghosts that they have, the new common ghosts that they have on the floors of the Scarescaper that aren't in the actual game for some reason, even though they're in the same category as the common ghosts, but I digress. Having that put in could be really, really, really cool. So, here's the part where I think that I wouldn't even mind if I had to pay for. In this new hard mode, have new boss ghosts. Have new boss ghosts, and here's where you can go different. You can obviously keep all the same boss ghosts, just make them harder, hopefully besides Clem, in, you know, the main story. Every single one that you've played the first time around. But add boss ghosts randomly in the middle of the floors. Because here's the thing, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The portrait ghost to common ghost ratio isn't balanced. The portrait ghosts or boss ghosts are just left to the end of the floors. It's all common ghosts until you reach the boss of the floor. They're not an integral part of the gameplay. They're just left for the end of each area for you to fight as the main boss. For the most part, you'll be fighting the common ghosts. That's just how it is. So having these boss ghosts, like, in, like, the actual floors, maybe, like, let's say, you know that yoga room in fitness hall or fitness center, whatever? Having a yoga ghost in there, maybe like a yoga instructor that just randomly pops up, and you fight her, and you capture her, and then she's added to your collection. Or maybe there's even more boss ghosts hidden in some areas that you'd really have to look for them, and it would just make looking for boss ghosts more fun. Like, you know, maybe you play through the hard mode a second time, and then you go back to the gallery to see all the ghosts you caught, but you see 2 empty containers still. But you're pretty certain you explored every single avenue of the mansion, but you maybe stumbled across 2 rooms that maybe just either completely forgot about or just didn't see. Like maybe that laundry room that's an RIP Suites that's behind the vending machine, having a ghost be in there. Like, the potential is endless, and that's where I'm saying this could be paid DLC, if anything, because that is a lot to ask for free DLC. So I think it'd be really, really cool to have that kind of stuff, you know, making the game more replayable and adding more, again, more combat variety. Giving these boss ghosts more roles than just waiting for you to meet them at the end of the floor. Like, it's just, like, they have no purpose. It's just, you know, you're just waiting, or they're just waiting for you to get there. So having them be a part of the floors rather than just taunting you throughout or whatever they do, it just makes the game, in my opinion, just seem more fun. So there you have it, guys. That's my video with 5 improvements that they can make to Luigi's Mansion 3. And like I said, these should be free updates, with the exception of the last one, you know, that little bit at the end there. I think most of these could be free updates. The amount of free content they added to, you know, Mario Tennis Aces and Splatoon 2, and even Smash Bros. Got free updates. Like, I think there are some games that need free additional updates, and I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is one of them. I don't think it's a game that's short, like, you know, quantity doesn't have much to offer, you know, like Mario Party, for instance, on the Switch. It does, it has a lot to offer, but I feel like after one playthrough, and, like, you know, like, there's no reason to play through it again, because, you know, some people are like, oh, we gotta get the gems and, you know, the booze. Yeah, but you can do that on the same file. You don't need to replay the game to do that. There's no reason to go back to it after you've done it. I replay the first game because of the fact that it's short and it's fun. It's a short, fun experience. It doesn't need to be like 12 hours long to be fun. It could be 3 hours long and be great. You know, now, of course, this game obviously needs to be longer. I mean, obviously. But there's just a lot of this game lacks, and I think that these 5 things could really make the game great. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, down below. Make sure to subscribe as well. Hit that little notification bell. I actually checked my statistics, and a lot of you guys do hit that bell, so thank you for hitting the bell. And also make sure to check out the merch store. The merch store, I got some new Luigi's Mansion 4 items up there that, you know, all be going towards a project. So I really hope you guys look at the merch store and enjoy what you see. So yeah. Thank you. I've been holding this for 20 minutes now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.